Hola.
Hey guys. Right, can you hear me?
You know what? I couldn't hear you before because I had muted my laptop. I completely forgot that I did that. So that was me. It's not your mic. I was a dumbass for a moment. Anywho, what's up, everyone? How for art thou?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just being a dork.
I am doing okay. It's been a wild week. Oh, I love your background today. That's fancy. That's amazing.
Make it something a bit on topic, you know?
I dig it. I dig it a lot. Hey, Jean. This is a name I have not seen yet. Super Nautiloid?
Super Nautiloid. I think I've seen that name before.
I don't think I've seen that name before.
Hi,
What of a man? What's up, what of a man? And Gary.
How's everybody doing?
Good to see everybody today. It's Monday. Yeah. Monday. Time travel.
Hey, J7's back.
Hey, Jay. What's up, buddies? What up, buddy? Oh, and I see Brett. Hey, Brett. It's good to see you.
Yep. So.
Yeah.
Today we have guests. Mm-hmm. We have guests. Special guests.
We have so many guests.
Special.
We have so many guests today.
So many guests. Hey, Matt. What's up?
And we have memes. Of course, we have memes.
Oh, well, I mean, Matt's here. We have to have memes. If Matt's here and we don't have memes, like, was he really here?
That is true.
Is Rob doing another Commie's Corner during our live stream? Do I have to lay the smack down? Because I will lay the smack down. Anywho.
That is very real. Yeah.
There's a schedule and everything. Anywho. All right. So, do you have any news for us this week? Okay.
So, I've been looking for stories. Mm-hmm. And, okay, so the things that we can talk about. We can talk about the Hawkeye trailer. I don't know if you've seen it yet. The Hawkeye trailer? It came out.
Oh, okay. I have not seen
it. And Chef's Kiss.
Is that why you're wearing the ham thing? Are you trying to
No, honestly, no. It's my carpal tunnels acting up.
Oh, I thought you were, like, already in character. I was like, that's just the trailer. It hasn't even come out yet. Calm down.
No, it's my carpal tunnels acting up.
Oh, okay. See, you totally should have gone with him. They're like, yeah, I have my bow right here.
Yeah. Hello. Archery champ here.
Archery is the one thing that I was actually good at in school.
Really? Interesting. Mm-hmm. That is very intriguing.
Yes. Can you guys hear the lawnmower that's happening right outside my door? Because or my window, which is open because it's like 1,000 degrees if I close it. Awesome. Hey, Quaker, what is up?
What's up, Quaker Socialist? Oh, thank you, whatever, man. Yeah, he saw my stream from last night. Thank you. Oh, yeah, cool. That was a good episode. Yeah, I had Eleanor Goldfield on. She was awesome.
Oh, I thought that was a recording. I thought you were recording that episode.
No, she was on live stream last night. It was fun.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
No lawnmower sound. Yeah. Awesome sauce. See, this is why I love this mic, because there's a lawnmower like right there, and I'm like, you had to start 10 minutes before. 10 minutes before.
Yeah, I'm very lucky that I had a lawnmower guy at my house today too, but luckily he finished like maybe 20 minutes ago. I was like, yes.
So it's like a universal thing. You do it like in the middle of the day. I thought like when I was a kid, lawn mowing was like something that happened 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. I thought they did it to piss me off. You know what? I figured it out. Whenever the time is the most inconvenient for me, that's the official lawnmower time. So
I agree.
It can be throughout the day.
I agree. That tracks.
Okay, so you want to talk about the Hawkeye trailer?
I mean, I have to say it's pretty amazing. It is pretty amazing, and it's going to take place at Christmas, and it premieres the day before Thanksgiving. So it'll play all throughout the Christmas season and have a Christmas setting, and it's in Christmas in New York. I was like, but like the comedy was spot on, just like everything about it. I was like, I am hyped. I am hyped for Hawkeye. And I'm hyped
I wish we could play the trailer, but I don't want to get hit with a copyright strike, so we'll just have to imagine it.
You'll have to watch. You'll have to go watch it after the stream is over. Yeah. You'll just have to. It's not required. It is homework.
It's not required. Yeah, now we're giving you homework. Great. That's what people want.
I'm an educator. It's what I do.
The Hawkeye, a Die Hard story.
It seriously felt like... No, it really did. It felt like Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, a little bit like Elf. It was very interesting, and I dug it. I dug it a lot. So... The Hawkeye trailer is good. The other story we could cover, since it kind of affects you in a way, because tomorrow, I believe, is the last day that you can vote in the California recall.
Oh, and is it?
I believe so. That's what I saw online. But Rose McGowan came out in favor of Larry Elder, and she also put out a story, apparently, that Gavin Newsom's wife paid hush money for Harvey Weinstein or something like that. It's very interesting. Okay. How are you feeling right now about the California recall?
I am so well informed that I didn't know tomorrow was the last. That's how I'm feeling. So the way I look at it is, how do I say this? It's Newsom was total neo-lib in that, like, going all the way to neocon right up until the pandemic hit. And at first I thought, wow.
Thank you, Ogre Smoker.
I was like, oh, cool. When the pandemic hit, like, at first I was like, oh, his response to the pandemic was, like, the best, because he was like, shut it down, right? And when everybody else was, like, not sure what to do, he comes in and he was like, nope, shut it down. We don't want to overload the hospitals. And I'm like, that's actually good leadership. And then we found out that, like, a lot of the wildfires that happened last year were going mad because it turns out a majority of the firefighters were, you're a little early, Bess. Give us like another hour. A majority of the firefighters were from prisons. And then we found out that during lockdown, he was still basically giving open passes to fracking. He was giving permits left and right to fracking. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And then you find out there's more corruption. So it's like, okay, like, I thought he was awesome. He's not awesome. And then when the Republicans started the recall effort, I was like, hey, man, you know, them's the breaks. Didn't care. I was just going to let it ride and wasn't going to vote at all. Until someone gave me, like, 2 really good reasons to vote for him, to, you know, vote against the recall. And, yeah, like, Ogre Smoker said, he's allowed 1,800 new wells. So, you know, not great. He does not have a good track record. Till it comes time for the recall, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, we're going to give the state of California we're actually waiting on the 3rd stimulus from the state. Now, not everybody gets all of them, but everybody should get at least 2 of the 3. And he has done things since the recall that have been far more progressive, because he's trying to get the leftists to keep him in office. So the things he's done since the recall have made it so it's like, I hate it, but basically he's the lesser of the evils, only because his job is on the line. So he sucks ass, but everybody else is worse. So, yeah.
Captain
That's
Obvious.
my take on the recall.
Captain Obvious, the Batman conversation will happen in the second hour.
Yes.
Yeah. During this first hour, we usually talk about current events and what we've been watching, and then the second hour is the coverage of whatever the main topic is. In this case, whether or not Batman is a cop.
Yes. Nobody wants me for governor, Matt. Ogre Smoker said only people who filed taxes were given those stimulus. That is true. But I think that's true for all of the stimulus, that like even the federal one. I don't think anybody got it. Yeah, because they have to have you in the IRS,
yeah.
Yeah, because they use the IRS to go through. But the cool thing about the okay, so the federal one just kind of showed up in your checking account that you had set up. But at least you knew like what day. The thing that sucks about the California one is, first of all, the first one, not only did you have to file taxes, you have to have filed taxes, but you had to have filed taxes this year. So like before it was like, if you filed taxes within the last year, then, but for this one, you have to have filed last year's taxes, which are the ones that we file now. You have to have filed those before, and then you didn't get it until like 45 days later. So that kind of sucks. So like if you owed money and you didn't have the money, then like you wouldn't get it. FHL is pretty close to 10K. Thanks, Matt.
We're at 9.56.
We're getting
so
there.
Close.
Maybe by the end of the week we'll be there.
Hashtag FHL to 10K. Help us get there, guys.
Yes. Biden is not Two-Face Harvey Dent. Two-Face Harvey Dent is Kamala Harris. You got to go back and watch the old episode. We figured that out, remember?
We did. We did figure that out.
Yeah. Okay, and didn't we say Biden was like Penguin? Pretty sure. We did like all the politicians, all the main ones.
Yeah. Who's Catwoman? What do you think is Catwoman?
I'd say Dianne Feinstein, but Catwoman's sexy, so no.
Oh, that's funny.
But like the whole in it for herself, willing to turn on anybody. Yeah. So.
Okay, so we need a sexy Dianne Feinstein. I don't know if I would think of AOC. I don't think that AOC is. I don't think to see AOC as Catwoman.
No.
No, that doesn't track.
So one.
And who would be Poison Ivy?
She could be Poison Ivy. AOC could be Poison Ivy. Yeah, definitely. Green New Deal. She's Poison Ivy.
There you go. Ooh, Feinstein is Greeny Goodness. That's a good one, Jay.
Jay nailed it. Yes.
I applaud you.
That actually
that's excellent.
That's an excellent one. Yeah. Catwoman would sell stock before a global pandemic, wouldn't she? Yes. Yeah, she would.
All right, so you had a story that you wanted to cover?
I do. Because this poor dude has been getting shit on left and right, and now he's finally vindicated. This is from his Instagram. Shang-Chi star Simu Liu, anti-Asian racism is very real. This is true, because, and I'm not going to read the article or what he's saying, but what I noticed before this came out was that, and I'm going to show something else really quick, too, while I'm here. Where is it? Show me. Come on. Damn it, I can't find it. Anyway, he puts out a lot. Here it is. Bam. Shang-Chi lifts to 258 million global. Free Guy 277 international box office. So the story here is that people were saying that, like the Asian hate that he was experiencing beforehand. Before it came out, there were all these articles talking about how Shang-Chi is going to be the first loser. It's going to be the first time that Marvel has a huge flop. They said that with Captain Marvel. They said that with Black Panther. They said that with Black Widow. I wonder what the tie-in is. Can't think of anything. Yeah, so there are these people who hate wokeness, and basically they call any story that is a comic book story that does not revolve around a straight white male character, they call it woke. Anything that's inclusive, woke. And they were betting on all of these things failing. And Shang-Chi broke records. So, congratulations to Simu Liu and to everyone affiliated with that. I have not seen it because, pandemic and all, and so I am going to the movies, but only if I'm like one of the only people in the theater, and it's doing so well that I can't. That's just impossible. There are like 20-30 people in each screening. Even when I use my little cheats of like, I'll go to the very first one or the very last one, it's like, there's 50 people in those. So I'm glad it's doing well.
Impressive.
Hope it dies down enough that I can go see it because I love to, but I'm not going to risk it to be in a theater, in a packed theater of people. You cannot wait for it to come on HBO Max because these are two different companies. It's never going to be on HBO Max. You will be waiting a very, very long time. This is Disney, buddy. It's going to go on Disney Plus eventually.
That's funny.
Yeah. So,
it
was a cool movie. I want to see it. Everybody that has seen it has told me it's a great movie, and they can't wait for me to see it because they want to know my reaction.
Yeah, I've heard amazing things. Though, I mean, one of the things about also Shang-Chi is that it's apparently not going to get a Chinese release date because of the way that Simu Liu has spoken about China and like why his family left, and so there's a possibility that this movie and possibly whatever other movie Simu Liu ends up in the Avengers universe may not get a Chinese release date. It's quite interesting.
I think that's fine. Now, I haven't seen the movie. Everybody tells me that I have to see it to really know whether or not that's the case. But I was like, I heard that it wasn't going to get a Chinese release because of there are a lot of rules in order to get a Chinese release. Number one, you can't have the villain be Chinese, which is why the MCU so far has changed pretty much everything they've been doing when it comes to trying to get in the Chinese market. Like that's why they made in Doctor Strange, the ancient one was changed to a white woman, which went over so well. There are literally hundreds of Asian countries. You
and the Mandarin.
One.
Can't forget the Mandarin.
The Mandarin whole mess up. Yeah, but the Mandarin's supposed to be in this one. So I can't wait to see it because everybody's like, I don't know if you call him the villain. I don't know. I haven't seen it. So I thought it was because the Mandarin, who is traditionally a villain in the comics, was supposed to be in this one. So I was like, oh, well, that's not even going to release in China. Another thing, like when WandaVision was out and everybody was talking about like, it's Mephisto. Most people were like, no, it can't be Mephisto or Nightmare because they're like Mephisto's the Marvel's version of the devil. And another one of those rules is you can't go supernatural. You can't have like demons and devils and stuff. Yeah. So that's why people were like, no, Marvel wouldn't do that. But I think Marvel would do that because it looks like they're pulling away from the Chinese market. Like they don't really care anymore. So, and I mean, without the Chinese market, it's still number one over the weekend. So
that is true.
Maybe they don't need it.
But I mean, granted, it'll be close to impossible for any Disney or Marvel movie to enter the $1 billion club again without the Chinese box office. Maybe they could for a Avengers movie, but it'll be very difficult for any movie to get into the $1 billion club without China. Definitely.
I don't know about that because like the Chinese market has been really big for them up to now, but there's also like Bollywood or Marvel stuff has started to take off in India, and they don't have as many people, but way more than the United States does, and they have as big a movie market. So, and then on top of that, now Disney has Disney Plus, and I think there's kind of banking on that, So, and like
it'll be
Matthew
interesting
said,
to see. Yeah,
there's definitely supernatural stuff. Yeah, that doesn't fly in China. Like sometimes it kind of depends. Basically, what happens is if you are from a different country and you want to get your movie seen in China, you have to go through like a committee, and they decide if it violates any of the rules. And sometimes they'll let some supernatural stuff go if it's not too freaky. But like horror movies and stuff, most of that's not going to make it to China.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how things go forward. I mean, even a movie like the latest Fast and Furious movie, like that hasn't really even done as well in China as in previous years. And China loves Fast and Furious. They love Vin Diesel. They love John Cena. So it's quite interesting that even that film hasn't been doing quite as well. But I think also the pandemic definitely still plays a role, obviously. And China's much more strict about that than we are here.
Everybody's talking about the different things. What was the last Marvel movie? The last Marvel movie was Black Widow. Captain Obvious is correct. Supernaturaloid. They have a taboo about showing death. You can't show anything with skeletons in China, for instance. They have a lot of rules.
Yeah.
Batman wasn't a cop, but he may have had a locker right next to Commissioner Gordon's. He was a social anomaly. Secret Masonic police aren't that good.
We'll definitely have to get into that conversation.
We're gonna see if we can go back to this comment. We will jump back to it. Okay.
Yeah.
India used to have about kissing. That's true.
No, I do have further evidence that maybe DC does think that Batman is a cop, or framing him as a cop. I have further evidence.
Ooh, oh, Meg is bringing receipts. Okay, I am either going to be the moderator because we have 3 people joining us, so I'm either going to be the moderator between 2 teams of 2, or if there aren't 2 teams of 2, then I'll be a team. Basically, I want it to be even because I can go either way, honestly.
Yeah,
and I'm really good at arguing, so I'll just jump in. Like my brain. Is chaos.
I mean, I definitely want you. I would definitely love for you to. I feel like I and the guys from the Vanguard kind of dominated the conversation last week, so I definitely want you to get as many punches in as you can.
Hey, Robin.
Hey, Robin. Mwah.
Creative Experiment says the Mandarin was originally kind of a racist, fear-inducing character, but they could have made it work or at least showed Tony Stark's alcoholism more. All of these things are true. Yeah,
I feel like they tried doing Demon in a Bottle, but it didn't quite work out.
The problem is they tried to do Demon in a Bottle in Iron Man 2, which had way too much stuff going on. So they didn't have time to really delve into it. And then they tried to deal with like the after effects of it in Iron Man 3, but since they didn't really get into it, that also didn't work. Also, to really delve into that story, you needed Scarlet Witch to already be Scarlet Witch and be in the MCU, because it turns out she was possessed by Chthon, and then she basically made Tony seem like he was super alcoholic.
Interesting.
So, yeah, they definitely could have with the Mandarin. So Marvel Comics had a thing where they were super progressive when it came to like blacks and gays and females. Not so much when it came to like Chinese. They were kind of the villains a lot. So, but I think it's just because the writers didn't really know anyone. They like most of the comics that we read came from New York City.
Yeah.
So the people around them are the people in the comics. So they were clearly surrounded by black people, but they were not so much surrounded by Asians, as you can see. So, yeah,
Even
a lot
in
of what they showed were stereotypes. There are Chinatowns, but I mean, that doesn't mean you go there. Like, there's a Chinatown in LA. I go there, like, not even once a year. So, that's just because I don't live that close to it. So, Gary says China will play a lot more American movies now that Biden has bent over. Not true. It has nothing to do with relations between the two companies. I mean, basically, the U.S. is a company. But between the two countries, it has to do with their standards. So if the individual movie doesn't meet the standards, it's not going through. Doesn't matter how great or horrible U.S. and China relations are.
Yeah, but I think it's an interesting point, though, that you're making about how people tend to view any film, particularly a comic book film, that doesn't have a white male lead.
I know, inclusion is like, inclusion of other people is like painful to them. They're like, why are you doing this? It's supposed to be us the center of everything. Let other people get a chance. Calm down. Phenomenal Mysticism says China doesn't like supernatural. That's weird. I researched that most Chinese people practice folk religions, but Chinese society considered mostly atheistic. Chinese society is mostly atheistic, and people around the world practice folk religions. Look at Christians.
I'm a total Wiccan. No, I'm not. I would totally be Wiccan though. I would.
I can't say what I would be because it would probably get us demonetized and everybody would be like, "Oh, gasp, horror!"
Oh, now you'll have to tell me after the show is over.
All right. Bruce Lee played Kato in an original TV series of The Green Hornet and was not even considered for the role of Kang in Kung Fu. Instead, they chose the Caucasian man David Carradine. Yes, Hollywood has been racist against Asians for as long as they've been racist against black people. It's just the whole time.
Yeah. Didn't Katharine Hepburn do a movie in Yellowface? I feel like she did. I feel like Katharine Hepburn did.
I don't know. There are just a ton of comments. So checking Rockfin, none over there. All right, cool. So any other news for this week?
Not that I could find, really. Nothing that stood out.
All right. Cool. Then I'll read the comments and then we'll move on to what if. Okay. So what's next? The Batman symbol to me could turn progressive or conservative depending on the type of bad guys he goes after. And then what?
But can a cop be progressive?
Oh, you guys are jumping in already. Show just started.
Yes, I was right. Katharine Hepburn did play Yellowface.
What was it?
I'll have to find what movie it was. She definitely in the film Dragon Seed.
Never even heard of that. That's weird because I love Katharine Hepburn. I never heard of it.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Finney, what bugs me is Disney's bullshit with not going into subject of Demon in a Bottle. Okay, so again, they attempted it in Iron Man 2, and they attempted to deal with the backlash of it in Iron Man 3. However, they at the time in Iron Man 2, that was literally their third movie, and they had recently been acquired by Disney. So, and technically, okay, so this was Marvel, by the way. Technically, they were not affiliated with Disney. They were in the process of being acquired by Disney during Iron Man 2. So they're not going to do anything too heavy into drugs or alcohol to keep Disney from buying them so that they could put out the rest of the MCU. So you can't really fault them on that one. A one percenter that rejects the spoils of his life and goes after injustice. We'll get to that. Give us another 30 minutes, man.
Does he though?
Yeah, see? We already know where Meg stands.
This is an interesting point of view. Disney and Marvel are neoliberal crap.
Certainly is.
I don't disagree.
I would say
I feel like most
definitely is.
Most movies are neoliberal crap.
Yes. Pretty much
not just
Hollywood.
Disney. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hollywood is very much neoliberal crap. Very, very rarely do you actually see because it's not really art. It's for making money. Hollywood is not going to make a film if it doesn't make money.
Yes.
So yeah. So you're definitely right, but you're just limiting your scope to just Disney and Marvel. It's all of Hollywood.
All of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, it could be said about, since we're talking Batman, if you go DC, I watched a video the other day that pointed out that, well, not the other day, it was a couple months ago. But anyway, it pointed out that Zack Snyder is an objectivist, and that all of his movies, the reason why people don't like them is because he kind of shoves his objectivism in your face. And for people who don't know what objectivism is, it's this... I thought it would be dead by now. System, where it's touted as being extremely selfish, and it is. But if it's done properly, though selfish, it could actually be beneficial. There's a whole thing to get into with objectivism. Anyway, it was the one created by Ayn Rand. And the funny thing is, she couldn't even live by objectivism, because in objectivism, there are no bailouts for anyone. Anyone, including businesses. There's no such thing as too big to fail. If you make rules, and if you make your own rules and you come upon a collapse like in 2008, nobody gets bailed out. And if the system crashes, then the system that rises from the ashes will police itself and make sure those things don't happen again. So that's why I said, if that were to happen, but that doesn't happen because we don't let things fail. We don't let big business fail. We have the too big to fail, mentality. Meanwhile, we don't bail out the people. So a lot of people think about it on the individual level, where you don't bail out the people. And yeah, that's terrible. I don't agree with that. But I do agree with the not bailing out the big businesses. Let them fail. If you want free market capitalism, make it completely free market. Don't bail out shit. If you fail, if you mess up, just like they say to individuals, well, you should have prepared better. Maybe you should have had savings. Let them burn. And anyway, we're not going to get into objectivism, which I just did.
All right, I want to cover this real quick. That new Ride On Cinderella movie. I definitely have opinions about the new Cinderella. It was very girl bossy.
I heard about it.
I mean,
you're muted.
I am.
There you
go.
Me now? Okay, now, yeah.
Okay. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't good either.
I heard it was horrible. And
it wasn't
Cinderella.
good.
They tried to change the story and make it
it was very girl boss.
Instead of it being 2021, they made it 1950s. Women can have a career. We fucking know that. We have to have a career. You made it at a time.
That's basically it. I mean, it wasn't. Well, it wasn't 1950s. It was 1800s, 1700s, because it was back in the day.
No. I know Cinderella takes place then. I mean, the mentality of the zeitgeist.
Yeah, that's basically what I mean. It's very girl bossy. It's she wants to be an entrepreneur, and the reason she goes to the ball is because the prince said that he could introduce her to people who would buy her dresses, and she just happened to fall in love in the process, and she turns down the prince because that might risk her career and all this stuff, and it's okay, yeah, we all get that shit. We get it. Yeah. As you said, that's not the mode we're in anymore. I'm sick and tired of that mode. I understand, another part of it, though, was kind of, don't, give up who you are for a man, follow your dreams and follow your aspirations and, follow, appreciate the person that you are and don't settle for less. That's, that kind of mentality I totally appreciate, but I didn't like their approach to it.
Right.
I just didn't.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't watch it, but Amanda the Jedi did an episode on it, and she walked you through it, and I was like, this is not garbage.
I watched that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I like Amanda the Jedi. Oh, we should have Amanda the Jedi on sometime.
That would be awesome, because she's right up our alley.
I like her. We need to have Lindsay Ellis on too sometime. Lindsay Ellis would be awesome.
She would be right up our alley too. Robert, hello comrades. Does anybody here read these comic books back in the 60s besides you? I read comic books at various times. So I have read some from the 60s. I didn't read them back in the 60s because I wasn't born until the 70s. So, but I read them from all over. Basically, whatever storyline fits me. I'm kind of the reverse with comics that I am with movies. With movies, I want to see them first and then find out what happens. But with comics, it's what happens, and then I go read that. Because there are tons of comics out there.
Yeah, Sweet Drifter, no, she's not a black, non-binary entrepreneur. She's Latina, because she's played by Camila Cabello.
Okay. Okay, so ready?
But I like Camila Cabello. Not gonna lie.
I don't know who that is. What if we did it?
Okay.
Okay. Did you like this one? I feel like you liked this one. Did you?
I did.
I also feel like we should have like Jeopardy music playing until you say something. Okay.
Bum, 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 bum. Oh no!
Like
are we gonna get demonetized because I hummed it?
No, it's
I
just
don't
long as
think
we don't actually physically play it. Yeah,
I know.
Unless you're like that dude from the Police Academy movies that can hum it like on beat like so well, then we might get demonetized.
But no, I did like this one. I did. This is one I've been looking forward to this one. I've been looking forward to this one because when I saw that they were doing Marvel Zombies, I was like, yes, one right out of the comics. I was like, this is one that I've been looking forward to seeing because like, how often do you get to see, Marvel Zombies being adapted for the screen? I was just like, ooh, and it did not disappoint.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I've heard tell that there are those who didn't like it because it, like they thought it was too much of the Marvel trope of like tragedy happens and then they just make a joke and move on. Okay, let me break this down for you people. It is a 30-minute cartoon, okay, and out of that 30 minutes, like 4 minutes are credits. So you've got like 26 minutes total to tell your entire story. We don't have time to sit in their grief. Also, if we did, it would be super depressing. But they did actually address that because Peter Parker was like, at this point, he's lost everybody because his girlfriend, his aunt, his uncle, both of his parents, most of his friends, 2/3 of the Avengers, they're all dead. And they even addressed, like, Hope was like, how are you sitting here, like, still able to crack jokes? He's like, it's how I cope. He's like, I just have to keep going. And same thing with Ant-Man. Listen to the insects. They teach you how to cope. And that's how people cope in real life. So I don't think that's unrealistic. And again,
a lot of people use humor as a defense mechanism.
Exactly. I do. That's how I got through life. So without...
Why do you think I'm so fucking sarcastic all the time?
Hello. So, yeah, that's, I mean, if you really think about it, most comedians, their lives have a tragedy in their lives. If not, their entire lives are tragic. Because comedy comes from pain.
Yeah.
So it kind of is natural, even though you don't think about it. Just because you process grief differently doesn't mean everybody does. Some people literally do crack jokes when they're sad. That's how they get through. Especially if you're trying to save the world, you got to keep moving. So I'm perfectly fine with that. So this episode, since we both liked it, we'll do half and half. Okay. So this episode starts out with the way I like the fact that they gave us in it, like how the zombies entered, and they didn't just start with like zombies. It starts out with the very beginning of Infinity War, only there's a slight twist. When Hulk comes through, or Banner, sorry, because he's no longer Hulk by the time he gets here. When Banner gets into the Sanctum Sanctorum, there's nobody there. Like nobody. He walks outside the streets in New York. There is literally nobody there. He's trying to warn them that Thanos is coming.
I love that he would put on an outfit from the Sanctum Sanctorum. He was supposed to get clothes.
Yep.
But I love that he put on one of his outfits.
In Infinity War, they gave him clothes. But since there was nobody there to give him clothes, he just took some. And of course, he took like a monk outfit, which was kind of cool. But it was still
good in it. He
looked good. He did look good in it. And it's kind of cool to also see Mark Ruffalo just walking, like in cartoon form, walking through the streets of an empty New York. And then
point, Robin.
Robin said laughter releases stress. It's a great coping mechanism. Exactly. So he's walking through the streets of New York. They are deserted. And then the Black Order comes and they give the whole speech. and he's trying to Hulk out, and the Hulk is like,
no,
maybe not. And right as he's about to get killed, Iron Man comes and saves the day. Yay! Something's not right with Iron Man, though, because he didn't necessarily kill Ebony Maw. I mean, he kind of killed him, but Ebony Maw's still a problem because now he's a zombie. Mm-hmm. And so now it's Mark Ruffalo with a zombie Black Order and Doctor Strange and Wong and Tony Stark. Not good. And he's saved at the last moment by your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And
first Wasp. Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay, so Wasp comes in and saves him, and then Spider-Man swings through. Mm-hmm. And this
and Clokey! And Clokey is also there to help save the day as well.
See, when you say Clokey, I think of like a combination of like somebody else and Loki. I'm like, is it Captain Marvel and Loki? Who's Clokey?
The cloak.
But
so the
cloak
of levitation.
The cloak of levitation has picked a side, and it is not Doctor Strange, because he's like, nah, you changed, buddy. I can't hang with you. So the cloak is on the side of the non-zombie heroes. Mm-hmm. And take it away, Meg.
Yeah, so Wasp shows up. Wong loses his head in one of the little traveling holes that they create, little magic holes. That chopped his head off, which I was like, oh! Like, that was the first jaw-dropping moment that I had. I was like, oh my god. Yeah, they
killed Tony Stark's zombie by decapitating him and showed the decapitation.
Yep.
His head was here, his body was over there.
Yep.
And I was like, this is gonna be a real anime. Like, this is not, we're not on Disney anymore.
Nope.
There's blood, there's decapitation.
Yeah.
But so, gets split in half.
Oh man.
And they show it. It's
that was
like
another
Mortal
one. I was
Kombat
like,
Marvel zombies. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was. There was so much death. There was so much death. Oh my gosh. Well, yeah. So then Peter Parker, Spider-Man, comes swooping in, picks up Hulk, and he's like, "Don't eat me! Don't eat me!" He's like, "It's okay. I'm just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man." It's like, "Well, what happened to the neighborhood?" That is a great line. Like, the writing in this episode was so good. And then so they arrive on a rooftop where Peter Parker then starts doing one of his vlogs of like how to survive the zombie apocalypse. And he's like, it was just fantastic because it had Happy Hogan like in a shirt that said like, "I'm saving myself for Thor."
Yes.
Which was great. And Kurt's there like pretending to eat his arm, and like, okay, so we find out that the virus. Oh, we didn't really talk about how the virus is spread. So the virus came from the quantum realm. It was when Hank
Hope
Pym
and Hank Pym opened it.
So this is now 2 episodes that the Pyms have ruined everything.
Yep, they have literally destroyed their universes. Yep,
and have killed Tony Stark.
Both of them, they killed Tony Stark. Yes.
Yeah. So the Pyms are kind of ruining everything in the What If series, guys. So Hank Pym goes into the quantum realm at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp. He picks up Janet Van Dyne, but Janet Van Dyne has caught a quantum realm virus. And so she is the original zombie. She kills Hank Pym, takes the ship that they created back up, and she then kills Scott Lang. But Wasp gets away.
I love the fact that like when they showed that scene, Hope was closer to the thing because like Hope was looking for her mom. So she was right up on the glass. And when she saw her mom turn into a zombie, she instantly went small. She's like,
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here.
Yeah. But like that, but that made total sense. Like, what if Janet Van Dyne had contracted a virus when she was in the quantum realm?
Yep.
It was a zombie virus, and she brought it back.
That reminds me of this TikTok that I saw where it was this. Like, you didn't get to see him, but clearly it was like black dude, and he was in the woods, and he goes, "Did you see that?" And the camera is like, it's through the perspective of like the camera, right? So the camera is like zooming in on something in the woods. You don't see anything. And then he goes, "Hey, did you see that?" Like he said it again, and he turns. When the camera looks, she's like half a mile away down the road. Like, yeah, she saw that. She got the fuck out. And that's what happened with Hope. As soon as Hope saw her mom, she was like, "Nope." And she took off.
Nope. And she noped the hell out of there.
Yeah, Janet got the Scott. So he was zombified, but then
we'll come to that though.
Okay.
So we're still with Peter. He's doing his How to Survive the Zombie Apocalypse vlog. And so one of the rules is you have to stay as covered as you possibly can. And which I feel like there's a bit of a plot hole there, because how did Tony become a zombie if he was covered in his entire suit? But Black Panther wasn't.
They showed that later, remember? When the Avengers showed up. They explain how.
I didn't see that part. I remember them showing up. I remember Cap getting bit. I didn't see how Tony got bit.
Because Hank shrunk down to an ant size.
Okay. And he got into the suit?
Yeah, and went into the suit.
Yeah, and just Black Panther's suit is just too tight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way to get into Black Panther's suit.
Yeah. So, Black Panther was safe because he was inside Wakanda. And
no, he wasn't. Black Panther was on the mission.
Was he?
Yeah, he was on the mission.
Because I don't remember.
That's why Okoye showed up.
The original Avengers, like kind of like when they were in the Avengers, that scene, that rotating scene where not that rotating scene, but the scene where they step off the Quinjet.
Yeah. No, watch it again. Black Panther's there.
Okay. The vibranium suit, as long as he keeps it covered and his mouth closed, they're not gonna penetrate. That doesn't save him though. Anywho,
as we will also discuss.
Yeah.
So you had to keep as much of your body covered as humanly possible. Also, you have to make sure, I can't remember, you had to keep yourself really clean because they can smell you. And so in that scene, they reveal, they open a shower curtain, and there's Bucky in all of his glory.
Naked!
Naked. Like, they are really, pushing, they are really pushing Bucky.
Naked Bucky.
Like, yeah. He's buck naked Bucky.
Buck naked, buck nasty, as Sebastian Stan would call him. He uses his metal arm and reaches out and grabs Kurt. And he's like, all I have to do is squeeze, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah. So then the next rule is
threatening.
Yeah. So then the next rule is you have to shoot them in the head or chop their head off, as we've already seen. Mm-hmm. And he shoots Sharon Carter in the head with a
rubber
dart.
arrow.
And then we reveal that Okoye is coming up. It's an orientation video. We have to help Bruce understand how to survive in the zombie apocalypse. And so now they have to figure out how to.
Wait, you missed the sick burn though. Remember when she's like, "What are you doing?" When she goes, "What are you doing?" And then and Peter goes, "Don't you have horror movies in Wakanda?"
Oh, that was when they were in Grand Central Station.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was when they were in Grand Central Station. Though I loved how they, took all those subway cars and webbed them up in the center of just between a bunch of buildings. I was like, okay, yeah, that's clever.
Yeah.
Yeah. That will definitely help you stay away from all the zombies. That's amazing.
Yep.
But yeah, so they have to now.
When I was watching that, I was thinking his webs only last for 3 hours, so he has to constantly keep doing that to keep him up there.
And how is he going to get supplies to make new webs?
Well, that's the other thing. So there's different canons of Spider-Man, because some of them, his webs, they only last for 2 or 3 hours or 2 or 3 weeks, and then some of them, they're permanent. And then in some, he has to create the web, and then some comes from him. So it's just, it's a teenage male spewing white stuff out of his body.
Oh boy.
She was not ready for that.
I was not ready for that.
Oh, I love it.
Oh boy. Anywho, all right, you go. You take the next part.
I took you out of it, didn't I?
A little bit.
So they hear a signal. It's the classic, like, the survivors hear a signal and they got to get to wherever the signal is to go to get to safety, and they need transport. So they're like, oh, we'll take the train. So they have to make it through New York City to get to Grand Central Station. They get there, and
in the little Ant-Man van, which is great.
Yeah,
they grew
also,
and like.
Which begs the question, like, why didn't they just take the Ant-Man van?
Good question.
Because they didn't really explain that.
Small. Maybe because they were so small, it would take them forever.
Well, no, because they could just make it big.
That's true.
Because they could, like, Jan or not
the train
Jan,
be
but Hope
faster?
had
That's the question. Yeah.
Probably because it's a straight shot. I think that's what it is. Because, like, with zombies at every turn, you want to get in and get out. So.
Oh man! Yeah. This next sequence was awesome. Holy shit!
So they get to the train station and everybody's got their weapons on them, and it's kind of funny because Okoye is like, okay, split. Yeah, you're right, because this is where it comes in.
Yeah.
Okoye is like, okay, let's split up, and try to find the train that they need. And Spider-Man was like, never split up. Did you not watch horror movies? And she was like, no, we have American TV. We don't need horror movies. And American reality TV.
American reality shows, yeah.
And Peter's like, that was a sick bird. So they split up.
Such good writing in this episode.
It was. They split up, and of course, some people die. Because that's what happens when you split up in a zombie movie.
Or Happy.
Yes.
Blam, 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 blam.
That was good. So Happy had, in Captain America: Civil War, when Tony Stark had the hand thing, the phaser, I guess, or blaster. Yeah. Happy had that, and when they were going through, for some reason, bats came through, and I'm like, wrong universe.
They were birds, actually. I think he said they were birds.
Were they just black birds? They looked like bats to me.
They did. They looked very much like bats. I thought they were bats.
Okay, well, anyway, birds.
He called them birds, though. So.
Birds came through, and they scared him, and he started shooting them. And every time he did, he went, blam, blam, blam. And Sharon Carter goes, were you saying blam? And he was like, was I? No. And then he goes down a hallway.
Personally, I would have gone pew 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 pew.
There's a tale of some actor did that. I don't remember what it was, but it was a superhero movie, and there was an actor where they had to keep stopping him, saying, "Stop saying boom," because like every time they shot, they would say like boom boom boom, and they were like, "Stop that."
That's hilarious.
So he ends up getting caught, and they find the train. He gets caught, and he turns into one and comes after Sharon. She kills him and then takes the hand thing, so now she has it. And
although we'll have to mention, like, the way that he was caught was that Hawkeye shot an arrow straight through his shoulder and had like the little pincher on it.
Yeah.
Although Happy went out fighting, man. I appreciate that.
He did. Happy did go out fighting.
He went out blaming.
So okay. He did. So a quick thing to mention is the zombies aren't the zombies you see in most horror, where they're just like mindless zombies.
Man,
these guys still have their powers, and they still have their minds. Like they can still, they're essentially remnants of the character. They're just flesh eating now. So, and they look horrible.
They do.
So yeah, Hawkeye comes out, and then Hawkeye shoots his arrow. So all of their powers, like Doctor Strange could still use magic, Wong could still use magic. All of their powers are still intact, and then Sharon kills Hawkeye, and then they leave. They find the train. I can't see the comments right now because I have them stuck so that I can, because you can't go back too far. Yeah. So I have them stuck at a certain point so that I can start bringing in past comments. So any new ones, feel free to post them because I can't see them. Yeah. But they find a train. They try to figure out how to make it work, and they were like, oh, we have to jump it. And hey, Noli, they decide that LA would be full of zombies. That's the one thing that sucks. When you live in a major metropolitan area, things like viruses and zombies will spread like that, and there's nothing you can do. Like, it's a great time to live in Riverside, all I'm saying. Or Inland Empire. They'll probably be safe, because nobody wants to go out there anyway. Okay, that was rude, but true. So they find the train. They decide to try to figure out how to jump it. Spider-Man hops out, and he decides to use it to try to pull it. So it's the opposite of, like, normally he's trying to keep it together. Now he's trying to pull it to, like, jumpstart it. And zombies are on the track. And zombies almost eat Spider-Man, but he's saved last minute by the cape, right? Yeah, Clokey, as he calls him. And they managed to get it going. And then, to me, the best part of this entire episode was when they're on the train. Sharon, like, zombies have gotten on the back of the train. Sharon Carter is standing at the end of the train, and
like,
Bucky,
who would push Sharon at the back of the train? Right. I'm sorry, but who would do that? Why would you put Sharon at the back of the train?
She's competent. She's got the weapon. So you'd think, and she was mowing down zombies up to this point. But here's the thing. There's one zombie she was not prepared for. And Bucky Barnes, it proves his badassery when he says, "Not anymore, Cap." And you see that the zombie that takes out Sharon Carter is none other than Steve Rogers. And Steve is still, like, trying to go after him, and Bucky is like, "I will kill you dead." And he does. And I'm like, I love Captain America, but damn, I love Bucky.
Man, the fact that, you know, Zombie Cap threw the shield and he caught it, but then threw it back at him, and that's what was the thing that killed him. I was like, nice callback. Nice callback. Yeah,
because when they didn't have the shield at first, Cap came with the shield, and Bucky's like, "Mine now." And he killed him. He killed him with
just
the shield.
that line, though, like, as, you know, Captain America is basically split in half and falls off the train.
And
it's like, this is the end of the line.
Oh,
so many callbacks! So many callbacks!
Because he did say, "I'm with you to the end of the line," and then, you know, he murdered him dead.
I guess it's the end of the line.
It was like, end of the line.
Man, there's so much left to cover in this episode. Oh my god, it was such a good episode.
So awesome. It's such a good episode.
Yeah, so they end up at but now Sharon is a zombie now, and Wasp flies into her mouth and it, like, grows bigger and explodes, and now she has, like, but now she also has a cut on her arm, and it turns out that now she's being zombified.
Classic.
It took her forever.
It did. Well, probably because she had such a small cut. Everybody else was, like, bitten into.
Yeah.
But she had just a really small cut, so there was, like, a limited exposure. That's probably what took so long. But she, but again, classic zombie trope of somebody was bitten but didn't notice it, and now they're gonna turn. Maybe they won't turn. We'll have to wait and see. So they end up getting through, and there's just, like, a horde of zombies. Where they're going is the
Camp Lehigh.
Camp Lehigh, where Captain America was created, like, so he got the serum. And there's just a horde of zombies on the way. So the train is not going to make it through all these zombies. So she decides to grab everybody and get really big, and she carries them over. And shortly after she carries them over, she succumbs. Well, actually, before she even succumbs, she's taken over by all the other zombies.
All these zombies, like, crawling all up on
her. They crawl all over, and they break the glass on her goggles and everything to get in.
When she says to Peter, though, when she says to Peter, like, you know, keep smiling, you know, smile for me. Like, oh,
yep,
give me the feels.
I know. So they hit you in the feels, and they, like, decapitated people and cut people in half. We also forgot to mention, like, Falcon was coming after them
by Okoye.
And he got just straight up like straight up Mortal Kombat style, split in half. So there is so much that we can talk. But basically, that episode was awesome.
And Zombie Scarlet Witch. Holy shit, Zombie Scarlet Witch.
Yes, and
go watch the episode.
When you get to Camp Lehigh, you discover that it was Vision. And Vision has the reason why all the zombies are right outside the fence even though there's an opening in the fence and they could easily come through, it's because Vision using the Mind Stone is basically keeping them all at bay. And we're just waiting on one more person. We're just waiting on Franco, and then we'll switch over. So we see you guys. Hi. As soon as Franco gets here, we will switch over to Batman. So until then, we can keep talking about what if.
Should we bring them into the conversation? What do you think?
Sure. You guys want to talk about? Well, Bess went away for a second. So there she is. Okay. You guys want to talk about what if? Until Franco gets here? All right. Everybody, welcome to the stage.
Yay!
What's up?
From Mikasa Sukasa Network, Nico House, and from Malinsplain, Bess. Hey guys.
Good to see you guys.
I love the Scarlet Witch thing because I like.
Oh my god, she was so.
So
badass.
now we know, like, you're like, damn man, if Vision had opportunity, would he like take over a whole damn town and like split reality open for Wanda? And you're like, yeah,
that's
actually,
true.
I'll hunt people down and feed them to her. That's how much I love her. So now we've had that question answered.
That is actually an excellent point, Nico.
It's also a reverse of the it's a reverse of WandaVision.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I just read a message from Franco saying he's running late, but he is coming.
But he's probably stuck in DC traffic.
Yeah, he said he was stuck in traffic, so he's on his way. He'll be here shortly, probably.
Yeah. I like the super corniness of the zombie thing though. Like they literally went through like every zombie trope. You get to the destination finally, and there's a hive of zombies outside, a horde of zombies outside. You're like, of course there are. Like, now I will say though, the part where like Thanos ends up in Wakanda, like that I didn't see coming. Only because I'm trying to figure out how he even got into Wakanda for him to. You know what I'm saying? For him to take it over.
Yeah.
And he's just like waiting there with the gauntlet. I was like,
yeah, like I do find it a little hard to believe that like he had almost all the Infinity Stones and then gets like bitten by a zombie. But like it took Tony Stark doing everything in his power just to make him bleed like with a cut on his face.
Right. So again, that brings the question: how did he get zombified? Because he came from outer space. The zombies are just on this planet so far. Because it started with Janet Van Dyne.
Well, if he stepped out of the thing to get into Wakanda, like there was a horde outside of Wakanda, I'm sure. Because like, why wouldn't there be? And so like he probably like was like, what the fuck? Tried to punch somebody and like maybe he got bit. But I'm like, literally, it took all of Tony's might just to give him a cut. I doubt some zombie decrepit teeth can break Thanos' skin.
Right. Yeah. They couldn't even break Hulk's.
Not to mention, he's got 5 of the 6 Infinity Stones.
Exactly. That's what I'm like.
So how did he get? How did Thanos get it?
Yeah.
I don't think that he got it in Wakanda. I think he got it before he reached Wakanda, and then he's the one. Because remember, they said like Wakanda's supposed to be the safe space because it's covered. Yeah. I think he's the one. Like he and the Black Order. Maybe he got it from the Black Order because we didn't see what happened to the Black Order after that. Maybe he came to New York, and here's Franco. Maybe he came to New York and. Got it from the Black Order and then went there.
That's right. He probably went to New York and was like, yo, where the hell my people at?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, oh, they're all going to Wakanda. And so he went to Wakanda. And so the cliffhanger is they have the Mind Stone and they're heading to Wakanda thinking that it's a safe space because, you know, the last safe place on Earth. And then we find out that Thanos is there and he's a zombie and so is the Black Order and everybody inside Wakanda.
Yeah, so, I just got called bullshit on the Thanos thing. I will call bullshit on that, and also like I'm sorry, bro, like y'all not getting into Wakanda. The one thing that we understand is that you don't get into Wakanda unless Wakanda lets you into Wakanda. There's just literally no. It's too late. You've already established this. The MCU's done a very good. Like that's why it was such a big deal when they opened the barrier just to let them in so they wouldn't go around. Like you're not getting in to Wakanda. I mean. It's just it is what it is. Like, I'm sorry.
That's true.
That's a good point. But then again, he does have he does have the space stone though. So hey, Franco.
Oh yeah,
what's up, guys?
He has the reality stone, so he could just get rid of the border to get in. Which, when you think about it, why didn't he do that in Infinity War?
He didn't have to, because Vision was outside of the border.
I mean,
and he wasn't going to go into. So Vision wasn't there until he got all the other stones. But also, like, he also didn't want to see Wanda. Like, that's basically the whole reason that they kept Wanda distracted with Vision the whole movie. Because otherwise, everybody's like, why don't just Wanda go and fuck Thanos up? Because he couldn't even be Doctor Strange without the rest of the stones.
Right, it's like a Koye say, like, why is it shit the whole time?
Yeah, that kind of pissed me off. Like, the whole movie, I'm like, what the fuck? Why are they, like, she got blitzed whenever she was with Vision. Then she, like, is up there hanging out with them the whole time. And then, like, when she does come down, she immediately starts fucking everybody up. Mm-hmm. But by that point, the time that Thanos gets there, he has all the other stones. Of course he can beat her. But, like, if he would have, like, I'm going to go to the planet first and just try to challenge her right then and there, it would have been a wash. It would have been a laugh. He's not even stronger than Ebony Maw, really. Like,
I mean, well, the thing is, we have to realize that all of the characters in the MCU, before Phase 4, all of the characters in the MCU were nerfed, including Thanos. All of them. Like, Scarlet Witch wasn't even really Scarlet Witch. She was really just Wanda. And she was the only one who Scarlet Witch until Marvel. Until WandaVision. Huh?
Basically, just it was only Captain Marvel was the only one who, like, reached her quote unquote.
Yeah, Captain Marvel was the first character to actually have her powers at capacity. Everybody else, like even the Hulk, nobody really had their powers until Phase 4, which is what I love about Phase 4. Phase 4, they started with WandaVision, like, okay, now she's Scarlet Witch. Now, she could kill Thanos with the thought, but she could have before. She just didn't know it. But now she knows what she's doing.
Hell yeah! I would tell people who, like, weren't familiar with the MCU, because a lot of people started watching the MCU roughly around, like, Black Panther, like, Infinity Wars era. And so everybody was like, they really liked Wanda. I was like, yeah, she's probably going to end up being the most powerful person in the universe. And they're like, are you sure? I'm like, no, y'all don't understand. Whatever this version of Wanda is, like, this is, like, the worst version you're going to get. And it's like immediately they, like, go from, I can just control things with my mind to, I can rip in the multiverse and nobody can do anything about it. Like fucking, that shit's crazy. I can't wait to see. I tell everybody my theory that she's probably going to be the bad guy of the bad guy of the next phase. Until they really reveal who's
I mean, she kind of already is, because if you think about it, the villain in WandaVision
was Wanda,
Yeah, I'm telling you.
We had an antagonist in Agatha, but technically the villain was Wanda. She's the one who controlled everything. She even controlled, when she was fully empowered, she really understood what she had. She was even easily able to control Agatha.
Yeah, like the whole bipolar, like, I don't need you to tell me who I am thing is like, hold on, what the fuck? Yeah, you do. You literally didn't know any of this. What are you talking about? It's like, oh no, like, I'm Scarlet Witch now, so I know all this. I just clearly suppressed everything about that part of my life, so I didn't know. But now I know, so that's your fault. Thank you.
Okay. Now that we have everybody here,
sorry, real quick. Weird Pilgrim agrees with me that Wanda is the MCU's Dark Phoenix. Thank you very much.
yeah.
Still no, though, because Dark Phoenix is an entity.
They might do that later on, like in 8 years. Like after they introduce the X-Men, they might make Wanda the villain for the first X-Men film, seeing how they're focusing on the multiverse, though.
Maybe that might be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, I can see her and Magneto getting into some beef.
Yeah. I do see them introducing mutants with Eternals, though. Like, they'll explain how the Celestials were experimenting on humans and other people in other planets with the X gene. It just was inhibited this whole time in a lot of people. Now, with everything that's going on with the multiverse and with the Thanos snap, it's not inhibited anymore for some people, and so we're seeing a rise in a lot of mutants.
That actually vibes with WandaVision, because that technically the first mutant in the MCU, aside from Wanda and Pietro, because I still say they're mutants. Aside from them, the first mutant that we officially see is Monica Rambeau, because her genes literally mutated after going through the Hex multiple times.
I would actually argue that it's going to be the Hulk. I think for the MCU, they're going to say, the reason they're going to figure out that the gamma radiation from Thanos' snap unlocked everybody's mutant abilities is because they're going to figure out that it wasn't that Bruce got infected by the gamma radiation. It's that the Hulk actually came out to protect him. That was the first trigger for his mutant abilities because that was the first major stressor that he had been under.
I think there will still
basically him becoming Smart Hulk. It's kind of how like when mutants master their abilities, they kind of like merge them so they have control over them. So like him becoming Smart Hulk is basically him mastering that ability. And that's why whenever he talked about the fact that the gamma radiation, it's the only reason he could do the snap and survive was because his whole body's gamma radiation. So
were you
saying there will still be there are some mutants that were still around during other times. It's just that the numbers were so low that it could have been like myths for some people. Like for example, Wolverine, he was around for a long time. It's just that not that many people knew about him. Same thing with Professor X or Magneto.
They were probably one of the Avengers.
There's definitely a room for that because, like, if you look into the comics, mutants were always around, but humans didn't know about mutants until the 1960s. Yeah, that was the beginning of humans understanding because that's when the X-Men came around. But like Magneto was Magneto in the 40s. But people just didn't know about it. Like you said, Wolverine's been around for 200 years being Wolverine, but nobody knew because they were easily able to hide it, which they kind of had to keep from becoming scientific experiments. So I feel like it's going to be a thing like that where like their mutants were always around. So both Wanda and Pietro were mutants, which is why when they were exposed to the Infinity Stem, I was trying to say stone and gem at the same time.
The Mind Stone, yeah.
The Mind Stone, thank you. When they were exposed to the Mind Stone, they didn't die because their mutant gene saved them and it activated their mutant gene.
Well, yeah, I mean, WandaVision confirmed that basically because they show like she said, "Oh, I got my powers from the Mind Stone." They were like, "No, you didn't. You literally used them when you were a kid. That's the only reason you survived."
Yeah. Yep.
And they just don't address it again. But
yeah, well, because the reason why I say that is because there are some people who think that because Marvel later retconned Scarlet Witch so that she's not a mutant. Scarlet Witch is an entity like the Phoenix Force that's like inhabited Jean, or the way the Phoenix Force inhabited Jean, like Scarlet Witch inhabited Wanda. And so people are like, that's what they did. And I'm like, no because it doesn't explain why Pietro did
powers though. That's why Jean was a good a vessel for the Phoenix because she had
she was a mutant,
telepathy and all the psychic abilities too. Yeah. So I mean, that could be a thing where like the Scarlet Witch Force is like a this thing that comes into Wanda, but it's because of the power she already had.
Yeah. Also, that theory doesn't explain why Pietro didn't die when he came in contact with the Mind Stone, because as you saw, they did it separately. That's why I'm like, no, they're mutants. So
yeah, no, you're right. No, you're 100% right. 100%.
I agree with that.
All right, so moving on to the topic du jour, Batman. Copper Nay. I want to start with Bess because you have said one word.
I love the Harley Quinn look, by the way. I'm digging it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know what her answer is.
Right?
What do you mean? This is my normal look, you guys.
Yeah, you always sound like that. Completely. Yeah.
I can do that if you want to, but I'll get it real quick.
You gotta do the Brooklyn accent. You gotta do it.
Liz, I used to live in Brooklyn, so I can do it if you want me to, but
it's mandatory, okay? It is mandatory. You must do the Brooklyn accent if you're gonna be Harley Quinn. If you're gonna be Harley Quinn, you gotta do it.
Ah, shit. Okay, so
let's just go.
Batman. I believe that Batman is way more of like an idealized Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates wrapped into one kind of thing. I think that he he definitely works with the cops, but it's clear that he's in control all the time, and no matter what Commissioner Gordon says, he's gonna do whatever he wants to do, right? He's like, I got a plan, you guys back me up, let's go, right? So that's one dynamic, and the fact that he spends billions and billions of dollars on these beautiful suits and giant, all kinds of Batmobiles and whatever. I mean, you can just go feed people and then there'd be no crime. I mean, if he's so passionate about there not being crime, I mean, especially in the Dark Knight series, because I just went marathon them to refresh my memory. And in the Dark Knight series, his parents are killed by, like, it appears to be like a homeless guy, or at least somebody who's down on his luck, right? So he's not even, like, you know, part of the big mob scene that they end up going after later in the movie. And you know, well, then, you know, then why didn't Wayne Enterprises, you know, just like employ all the homeless people or house them or something?
I was literally thinking that.
Why did they feel the need to, like, create a giant tower as, like, the center of Gotham, where all the water you know, all the power comes from, the water comes from, all the trains intersect there, whatever. Like, that's suspicious to begin with. Like, that's not a favor to, like, you know, build the infrastructure in your favor. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a favor to the people of Gotham, I don't think. Anyway, yeah. So I feel like his attitude, and again, especially in the Dark Knight series, is very, you know, like,
white savior.
Yes. Well, go with that. Seriously. Because somebody specifically asked him in the movie, like, well, why is it you? And why not me? And he's like, oh, I have the training and the blah, 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 blah.
No, actually he said because I'm not wearing underpants or some shit like that.
Oh, I'm not wearing hockey pants.
I'm not wearing hockey pants. I was like, basically because you're rich is what you're saying. That's literally the reason.
As his car was, like, closing on him.
Yeah.
Okay, so cop, yay or nay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I can afford the fancy duds. Okay, thanks,
Franco, to you.
I would say no. The reason why he does what he does is because he sees corruption in the city he's in. Like, the crime mobs are influencing the politicians. They're influencing the way that the cops move. I mean, he sees the cops are corrupt, and so he wants to do his own thing and work outside of the system in the way that he catches some criminals, but still working within the system and sending them in, and, you know, for jail. But, like, Bess brings up a good point. Like, he doesn't go at the root of it. Why doesn't he use his money to expose the corruption to the people and let them realize, okay, we have corruption in the city because of this, because these crime mobs are controlling everything and they're paying off these politicians. Why doesn't he use his money to try to influence people to have parallel governments and opt out of the system? It just doesn't cross the author's minds to do that. And also, if they fixed everything, then they just wouldn't have any more stories for Batman. But in that sense that he's trying to work outside of the system and trying to catch these criminals and doing it his own way, I would say he's not a cop.
Okay. Nico.
First of all, Franco just gave the most Capricorn-ass response I've ever heard. He's like, yeah, man, he's taking shit in his own hands. Somebody got to do the shit. He might as well do it, right? Like,
as a Capricorn, I take offense to that.
How is that Capricorn?
I'm a Capricorn. That's how I know. No, he's not a cop, man. He's just like, he's doing what the cops won't do, man. You know, like, no, he's a cop. He's definitely a cop. And in fact, it's like he's damn near running a racket, right? Because it's like why not just use Wayne Enterprise to employ all the homeless? As much as the mafia is paying the average, like, delivery guy or, low-level drug dealer, Wayne Enterprise can literally put them through school and hire them and pay them more and not even be close to dented as far as their finances are concerned. And then on top of that, like, you basically run the city. The city cannot function without Wayne Enterprises. So I know you're getting government subsidies from the city. And because of what you do, like, as far as energy is concerned, because there's no way you're a multi-billion-dollar mega corporation without it being an international venture, as we saw in Dark Knight. Like, you're probably getting federal subsidies too. You have the ability, without ever putting a mask on, to fix all of the problems single-handedly in your city, and no one can do anything about it. Because he's probably like as rich as Jeff Bezos. When you can disappear for however long and then you just come back and all your money is still there, and everybody just like, hey man, hey, it's Wayne's money, it's his, don't touch it. Like, you got a different type of power, and the fact that no one ever questions what you're doing at all because of how powerful you are, and like, it's not my business. It shows that you have a type of influence that, like, the same influence we ask people like Jeff Bezos or what's that fucker's name, Elon Musk, those people. Like, we try to tell them, hey, maybe you should spend your money in these ventures to help people out. Like, he could do it. He could wipe out poverty. All of Gotham's poverty. Bruce Wayne could wipe out himself. Doesn't do it. Like, and not so. If you're like want to come from a super cynical perspective, it basically looks like his trauma has warped his logic. So he feels like he has to avenge people and quote unquote protect people from physical harm. Instead of, like, for example, the reason that your parents went through a back alley at night in the most dangerous city in the goddamn country doesn't make any sense. You think they should have walked out the front door instead? Maybe that would have been the smart decision. So he's not thinking like, maybe we should try to avoid me ever having to get involved physically with any type of crime. Maybe I should try to erase crime before it becomes a thing. And he doesn't do it. And so it's like his trauma basically made him react to the point where he felt like he had to go fight crime directly instead of preempting it and making sure it never happened. So fuck yeah, he's a cop. He works with the cops. I mean, what?
He works with
the SWAT team,
Gordon,
like the ultimate SWAT
but
team of cops.
but not the corrupt cops. He works with Gordon, but not the corrupt cops. Gordon is more so like
Franco.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
What?
You say not the corrupt cops?
Gordon's not the corrupt cop.
I mean,
right? That's who he works with.
Like, literally in the movie.
A-cab, Franco.
There was
A-cab.
constantly issues because the entire fucking department was corrupt. That's how Two-Face became a thing.
I definitely see Gordon as the reformist, though, trying to work in the system. And
yeah, how do you feel about those people?
Then,
Franco, how do you feel about those people?
Which people? Yeah. No. But I was gonna say Batman though is working out more so outside of the system.
You see how you try to
so he's a revolutionary.
You see how you try to... No.
But he's a half-ass revolutionary because he's not using his he's not using his resources efficiently.
He's working with a cop to do cop shit for cops.
Okay, Meg.
He could be working with nonprofit organizations and other outside groups. Like, if you would have been like, oh, he works with the Justice League outside, it's like, okay, cool. Because that's a more broader thing. Like, he's helping people all over the world, all over the universe eventually. That's a whole different thing. But in the Dark Knight series and just what we know about Batman when he's like his inception, it's like, nah, bro, like, you're just a psychopath who didn't want to go to therapy, so you decided to put on a fucking bat costume and beat up bad people.
There we go. Gene brings up a great point. There is a difference between a cop and a vigilante, right? Or is it the same thing?
In Batman's case, no, it's the same thing.
Why?
Okay, so like,
He's
just
still
because
putting up with the carceral system.
Gave the military, or excuse me, just because Obama gave the cops more weapons and like high-tech gear,
the police.
They're still cops. Like,
okay.
Bruce Wayne it's like those people who like join the infantry or join the police force because they're like dumbass childhood that they didn't want to actually address, like with all the trauma they didn't want to actually address. Like, so, or some of them are closet racists, or they have they just have a litany of issues with them mentally and emotionally. So they go out and they beat the shit out of people. That's why, like, what, 90% of all cops beat the shit out of their wives. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
all right, I see what you guys are saying. Yeah, I think I can see how he
taking
could be
us in his own hands.
Okay, so we have 2 for definitely a cop, 1 for not a cop. Meg.
He's definitely a cop.
We're so uneven.
Batman is definitely a cop. I mean, come on. I mean, just because he's not working as an actual police officer, just because he doesn't have a badge, he is still uplifting the carceral system. He is aiding the carceral system. He's
the worst cop then. He's worse. He's a cop that literally can't even be taken to court because he doesn't have a badge number.
All right, would he be against...
He's a cop without accountability.
Would he be against all cops are bastards? Like, during the Black Lives Matter protests, what side do you think that Batman would stand on?
I have no idea.
I don't think he would be a cop.
He wouldn't even get involved.
I feel like he represents that level of 1% that like is just above every law ever, and it's like the laws are made for him. They're protecting his property, right? So I don't know. I don't think he would have cared one way or another about the BLM protest.
What did he say in Dark Knight? He was like, "Oh nah, the Chinese government doesn't extradite people." He's like, "Bro, Batman doesn't have jurisdiction." Fuck you mean Batman don't have jurisdiction?
Yeah.
Batman's supposed to have jurisdiction. It's supposed to be something because once again he can go and do whatever the hell he wants to. Like we don't like. Yeah, he ended up getting the bad guy, but what if he goes over there and those cops that were in that building, the security that was in that building, they were just doing their job. He's beating the shit out of them. Yeah. Like, and they were just doing their job. They don't know what the hell's going on. They're like, this is Batman guys here. I guess I gotta fight fucking Batman now because they didn't handle their business over in the U.S. Like. There's like all kinds of like cascading effects. Once again, he's not accountable for. It's kind of like the plot of a Civil War, like Captain America: Civil War, where they're not Well, there was a belief that there's not accountability, but it's kind of weird because like Tony Stark actually has like a whole like cleanup crew and he spends his own money to do it. So that's weird. But the idea is like there's not accountability, and with Batman specifically, like it's not only does he not like people don't know who Batman is, it's because Bruce Wayne has enough money for you to never fucking find out.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to show something. Figure it out. Yeah, I'm going to show something real quick that is totally going to aid. I'm not going to have the music on. That way we won't get a copyright strike. But this new graphic novel that's coming out from DC that totally goes along with what you were just saying. Hold on, where did my video go? There it is. So this is a new graphic novel called Batman: The World. All right. So. What? Look at what the tagline is in just a second when it comes up. This is the ad for their... So, Batman the World. The war on crime.
No, okay.
What?
Goes global.
Hold on. Is this a legit ad?
This is an ad that from DC. This is a new graphic novel that they're putting out.
Wow. The war on crime go, man. You always ask why you don't like DC shit. Y'all always be asking me that shit. Look at what the fuck we dealing with, man. They out here doing the work. They doing the work of the.
They
fucking
need some
1%.
More revolutionary authors.
Yeah,
they could make this work.
No, they can't make that work.
They can make it work. Batman has potential to be a revolutionary.
What's the potential?
Yeah,
why? Because he's a billionaire. Is that the only reason? Is that the only reason? If that's the only reason. Then I don't need to.
No, because he's against corruption and he wants to help out. He wants to help out the people that he's fighting against. He's fighting all these criminals that kill innocent people. I mean,
why do they kill innocent people?
That's the thing. That's what he needs to figure out. He's like, all right, he hasn't thought about it enough. Why are these people getting killed? That's like, why do we have crime in the first place?
Fuck, you do too much goddamn politics. For you to be like, we don't know why they commit crimes. We have no idea why people commit.
We know at the root of it. We know at the root of it. It's because of money and politics.
Oh, and he has enough money to influence both.
Exactly, he hasn't figured that out. So we need an author that can figure that out and write it in the story.
How does he not figure out when he literally tried to buy off Harvey Dent in the fucking movie? What are you talking about?
Because these authors aren't revolutionary. They need revolutionary authors.
Maybe you just gotta accept Batman's character is just fucking trash. Maybe he's just a fucking trash ass character.
I wish was here.
Is Spider-Man a cop? If he does the
cops
same
hate
thing,
Spider-Man.
Why do they love Batman?
Cops do hate Spider-Man. No,
they don't love Batman.
Batman's a cop. What do you mean?
Batman's just better at their jobs than they are.
Okay. To be fair, cops hate in the comics. Cops hate both Batman and Spider-Man. Cops hate vigilantes. And both of them are vigilantes.
But he isn't working with the damn commissioner, though.
He works with the commissioner, but the beat cops hate him.
No, I'm talking about, but like, the beat cops hate him because, like, he's doing their job somewhat better. Like, man, you can't beat up on poor people like that. That's our job.
Right, but with Spider-Man...
Didn't he work with Gwen Stacy's dad?
Nobody likes Spider-Man except for the people. So Spider-Man is more of a revolutionary. So basically, if you want to see Batman done well, it's Spider-Man. You take away the money, and you take away him working.
Spider-Man's grassroots, man. Spider-Man's
grassroots. I hear his fucking.
He's a struggling working class man.
Paint top and some spray paint.
He's just as smart. He's also a genius. he also
he is smarter.
creates
We
his
can't hear you,
tech.
Bess.
Yeah, you're really quiet, Bess.
Oh, interesting.
You gotta turn your mic up, girl.
Yeah. So basically, like, I feel like the revolutionary that Franco wants Batman to be is Spider-Man.
Speaking of Best, Harley
Right
Quinn. Harley Quinn's a goddamn revolutionary. Goddamn, you saw y'all seen Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking James Gunn does it a goddamn again. Out here saving DC's ass. Harley Quinn's that bitch in that movie. Oh my god, that's the best version of Harley.
What did you
Quinn
guys
I've
think of that
ever
ending?
seen.
They didn't release the video that shows all the crimes that these powers did with the giant starfish.
Huh?
They didn't release the video, but I feel like releasing the fact that the starfish exist is enough of a beginning because they did survive. Now, Peacemaker does have the video, but they survived and they saved the day. So all it takes is for one of them to give an interview, and it's out.
Yeah.
So just
And
the
you can't
fact
kill
that
them
they all
after that.
survived means the possibility is still out there.
Yeah, you can't kill him after they do a video because then what does it fucking look like whenever they tell the world, oh yeah, she has a dead man switch, by the way. Like, she'll kill me if I say this, so letting y'all know. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's no, that fucking movie was, yeah, with the Harley Quinn, when she was like, I said if another what'd she say? If another guy
If I saw any more red flags.
Oh my god, that was hilarious.
This is like, and killing kids is a pretty big red flag.
What was that, Bess?
Yeah, that shit's crazy. Like, holy, I just was not expecting her to cap that motherfucker like that. I was not expecting it. Like, she really
No, if you like that, watch the Harley Quinn animated series. The Harley Quinn animated series.
Is it good?
Chef's Kiss.
Where's it on?
It's on HBO Max.
Oh, I'm gonna check that shit out.
Yes, you gotta fix
will
your
love
mic,
it.
buddy. We can barely hear you.
We can't hear you, Bess.
Oh, I can't hear you at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, if I yell,
You're
is
so
Oh,
that
you're back. Now you're gone.
We can
You're
hear
back.
you.
Or it might be a
You're
wire
yelling, we
thing.
can barely hear you.
Go into your settings and just increase the volume on your mic.
I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna.
Okay.
Back.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So while she's fixing that, I'm gonna show this. First question for the panel: where would Batman stand on peaceful constitutional carnation revolution? Would it be sad for him not to have any criminals to battle against? Because let's face it, like going with that comment, this is his therapy. It's like you know how people are like, white men will literally beat up everybody instead of going to therapy.
He needs to do some shadow work and figure out what's the real reason why he wants to keep beating up on criminals. He hasn't dealt with the trauma that he had during his childhood of that guy killing his parents.
Shadow work.
Yeah.
He went to the League of Shadows. What do you mean? What's the other shadow work? Like,
But
what was it that Liam
Yeah.
Neeson said? He's like, he took what I said quite literally, like about like. What was it that he? Because he saw him in his costume.
he's like, oh shit, like you took this shit really like because you're supposed to like face your demons and whatever, like embrace them or whatever. And he's like, okay, you took that shit really literal. Yeah, he did.
Oh wow, Franco, you got a subscriber.
Awesome. What's up, Gene? What's up?
Hey, Gene, you like cops?
but you're still very low. But yes, we can hear you.
But
We can hear you better now.
Spider-Man is
Yeah.
for the people.
Hell
Spider-Man
yeah,
is
that's
Best,
why- you see- hey,
Best,
look,
go to where it says Cam
That's-
Mike.
I'm not biased.
Down at the bottom,
I'm
go to
not
where it
biased
says
or
Cam
anything.
Mike. Go to your audio and increase the volume on your microphone. That might help.
I'm not biased or anything like that. It's like a Spider-Man tattooed on my chest, but you know, I'm not biased.
Nice.
It's for the people.
Well, it's good that you're not biased. I'm glad that you came into this without bias. I had no idea this was going to turn into a Batman versus Spider-Man. By the
It's
way,
always
I mean,
been
it's-
a Batman
there's a
versus
good comparison
Spider-Man. It's
to me.
always been that.
they are.
Better.
They have the best rogues
Yeah, that's
gallery.
better, Bess.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Bess.
They actually do. You're right. You're right. I never even thought about that. But
Hmm?
Batman and Spider-Man are
They're good
like
foils.
they are. They're the exact opposite, but also the same in that they're both vigilantes, but for different reasons. Well, so not technically different reasons because both of them lost their caretaker, which is why they became vigilantes. But the difference is Bruce Wayne, who is literally a multi-billionaire and could just for his one city financially solve all of the problems and thereby actually reduce crime, decides instead to keep his billions, dress up like a bat, and beat up the poor people who are committing these crimes. Whereas Spider-Man doesn't have those resources, but what he does have is the ability to tie people up to stop them. He doesn't always send people to the cops. Sometimes he just stops the crime and moves on. Batman usually incarcerates his people. He always sends people to Arkham Asylum, which has a huge record for people getting out. The Joker,
recidivism rate
is like a 150%. Like
he could invest in a better facility
when he wants. What?
He could invest in a better facility.
He could invest in lowering crime. There's no reason to have the facility.
Yeah, going at the root of it, like we were saying earlier.
So, in my opinion, the true revolutionary in Batman.
Yes.
Poison Ivy. She's an eco-terrorist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, she really is, though. If you want to go that way, then technically Ra's al Ghul is the true revolutionary. She joined up with him in Injustice.
I thought you meant in like the third movie. I feel like he's not a revolutionary necessarily he's just reacting based on trauma too. He's like, Gotham killed my wife, so I'm gonna fucking destroy Gotham now.
Well, I mean, if we're talking like across all mediums.
Yeah, we're talking across all media. Like in the comics, he's actually a revolutionary.
Say it again, Beth.
I said our Bane has a really funny.
Oh yeah.
Bane is also a revolutionary.
Destiny.
Bane, so
what the fuck? Like, how did they even come up with hey, bro, let's make it the most awkward voice ever. like just do a bunch of funny ass voices, and that's what we're gonna. And that shit ended up working perfectly. I'm like, this is my favorite bad guy in Batman ever. Like, why are you so well spoken? You're raised in a fucking prison, bro.
Like when I saw it back in 2012, there were a bunch of people in the theater when he started speaking, like when he's like, and everyone was like, what? I could hear people go like, what the fuck? And the guy, my friend next to me is like, yo, why does Bane sound like a bitch?
Hey, you know what's hilarious about that? It's like, because everybody knows Bane doesn't talk, right? Like, from all the comics and the cartoons, he doesn't talk. So they go and do the complete and total opposite. Like, you think he's gonna sound like a fucking monster like the Hulk, and he sounds like some kid who was educated at fucking Cambridge. Who could bust your ass.
Like, we're just gonna have Bane on the streets, like, speaking Marxism.
Again?
I mean, he kind of does in Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, he definitely is.
A little bit.
Kind of.
Okay, so Brett's comment, Batman.
Beth is trying to say something.
We can't hear you again.
Mm-hmm. You still can't hear me?
Now we can.
It's in and out.
Okay, so no, that's why you got to watch the Harley Quinn cartoon, because they mock Bane ruthlessly in that cartoon. It's hilarious. Like they're in the Legion of Doom office or whatever. Beautiful big chair. He has to sit on like this platform, and he's huge, and the chair is so tiny. He's like, why did I always have to sit in this chair, you guys?
To me, the way they treat Bane in Harley Quinn is kind of like a callback to Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
When they had him like just big and dumb.
Yeah. Like a mindless henchman.
He basically did big and dumb for outside of the Dark Knight series. He usually is just big and dumb.
Oh, and the animated series, the 90s animated series, they did them really well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there was one episode I remember where Superman dressed up as Batman, like he was wearing his costume, and he beat up Bane so easily, and Bane was caught by surprise because he thought it was Batman.
I forgot about that shit. Holy, I'm surprised that's right, you're not even that young. You just look young. I was like, how the hell do you even remember that? It's like forever. That was like Batman and Superman adventures on WB.
I would watch them when I was 6.
Yeah,
like I remember watching them.
Fucking golden era of television.
That wasn't it? The X-Men.
Yeah, WB, literally on Saturday morning. WB, one Saturday morning, and Fox Kids all happening at once. Yeah.
I mean,
Gen Xer has entered the chat.
X-Men animated series, Batman the animated series, Spider-Man the animated series.
You say Gen Xer?
Yes.
I'm a fucking millennial. What do you mean?
I'm the Gen Xer.
Oh, I was like, what?
I'm sitting here listening to millennials talk about golden age when I was 20. Get out of here.
Oh, come on.
Y'all are children doesn't mean that was the greatest era, okay? It was a good time for comic book cartoons. I'll give you that. But not all cartoons.
Just like the cartoons that everybody knows.
Animaniacs, yo. Animaniacs.
And then they'd have Pokemon, like in the same channel, WB Kids.
I never watched Pokemon. Probably because I was like 27. Okay, so Brett says, Batman would probably become the criminal without crime. Do you guys think that Batman is a criminal or no?
I mean, by definition.
But honestly, if he didn't dress up to be a bat and beat up criminals, he would just be another, he'd just be another, silver spoon, trust fund kid.
He'd be the Punisher.
He'd be. I don't even think
no
he'd
one
be
likes
the Punisher.
The Punisher. He literally, that's what he is, though. I mean, he doesn't kill him.
He is the Punisher, yeah.
But kind of just the Punisher.
He's a cosplaying lighter version of the Punisher. The difference between Batman and the Punisher is Frank Castle gives no fucks. He just kills you. Batman is I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to turn you into the cops, or I'm going to put you in the hospital. Your choice. Yeah. Not really. He chooses. Anyway, so.
But it's absolutely true though that if Bruce Wayne would just, if he were truly wanted to be a revolutionary, he could easily say, you know what, there's too much crime in this city, and instead of going out and dressing up like a bat and beating up individual criminals, because how is beating up individuals ever going to solve the actual fucking problem? It's not. If he actually wanted to be a revolutionary, he could be a class traitor and fund every single mutual aid or build public housing. He could be doing all that shit. And he chose not to do that. He just decided to do the individualist BS and go out and try to solve crime on his own.
Yeah. Bruce Wayne needs a therapist.
He's a cop.
Yeah. Bruce Wayne needs a therapist and he takes it out on the criminals of Gotham.
Yeah. He beats up poor people.
Yeah.
Yes. So, my opinion,
go to jail and get right back on the street.
Even though he technically sends people to, Arkham Asylum or jail, he's still a criminal, and which is what the cops. If you read any Batman comic or watch any Batman animated show, the cops hate him because they're like, he is a criminal. Mm-hmm. Now, Nika was right; they don't like him because he does their job better than they do. But they're not wrong. He's still a criminal. He's a vigilante going outside of the system.
Let's once again just revisit how DC just always gets it fucking wrong. You can tell DC was written by just a bunch of fucking white guys with ego complexes because for some reason they thought it would be a good idea. Hey, let's throw all the criminals in the asylum so we can stigmatize mental health disorders while we're at it, while we're making this fucking billionaire cop. Vigilante cop. It doesn't make any fucking rational sense to anybody who has any level of empathy at all. Or understands. They have no idea why crimes are actually committed. They fetishize the idea of a superhero, and then they kind of fantasize the idea of crimes. Oh yeah, people just wake up one day and decide I'm gonna keep getting my ass kicked by Batman and then committing crimes every time I get out. No, bitch, I'm still poor. You threw me in Arkham Asylum. They're fucking crazy. He probably paid for that shit too. It's not it's not helping me. There's no psychiatrist. Oh, excuse me. No, there's a psychiatrist there who's also a fucking criminal. Scarecrow. And I get out. I'm still fucking poor. Well, guess I'm about to go ahead and hit these streets after I go to the gym and take this ass over for Batman again. Come on. Are you kidding me? It's so fucking bad. Everybody watch the MCU. That's what you gotta watch, guys. MCU.
Mad TV says Batman doesn't kill. It depends on the version of Batman. There are many versions of Batman.
Ben Affleck's Batman does.
Ben Affleck's version does.
So does Tim Burton's.
Oh yeah,
comics.
He killed the clown.
Started out with a gun. Thomas Wayne. So there's an
Thomas
version.
Wayne.
Thomas Wayne kills easily. Thomas Wayne is the Punisher. Let's face it. Thomas Wayne is the DC version of the Punisher.
He also just destroys people's lives. So I guess he doesn't kill them. He just puts them in perpetual poverty and gives them a fucking criminal record so large that they would never be able to get a job ever anywhere else. But I guess as long as he doesn't kill people, it's cool, right? The cop just beats the shit out of you and he just takes you to jail.
How do we get this? Do we have any moderators on that can get rid of that one comment that keeps spamming the chat?
Yeah, we got Robin and Noli in
feel
there.
Free to block them.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Take away Bruce Wayne's trust fund. He's just a cop walking a beat, swinging his nightstick and telling everyone not to resist. Not true, because he's not actually a cop. I'm agree with Franco that he's not a cop. He's a criminal that is just not killing people in the movies. In most of the movies, he just doesn't kill people. Again, in the comics, there are versions of him that kill people. I say he's more criminal and less of a cop.
I'd say, is there a difference? Like, we watch cops literally break the law to get people arrested.
I knew you were gonna say that,
bro. I mean, it's true. Like literally. So I'll give you an example.
I was thinking that. I was like, all right, I knew you were gonna bring up that argument. Like, cops break the law all the time.
I got jumped by 6 cops in the Burger King. Right? They were called for somebody else. Yeah. 6. Yeah, I'm like a bigger guy, and this is like Miami, right? So all the cops are like 5'5". So they come in. They were called for 3 girls because they were acting wild. They come to me because I'm the only black man in the establishment. What they put on it's a Burger King. They put that the reason they arrested me because they had to do a fucking official report because they put me in the hospital, dislocated my shoulder and tore my rotator cuff. They put that I was trespassing at a Burger King while I was waiting for my food. Okay, and that I was resisting arrest. That should have never happened to begin with. But when they came in there, what they actually did was assault me. Then when I ended up at the hospital, they actually put a cop outside of my room so that I wouldn't leave so that they could falsify an arrest affidavit, which by definition is actually fucking kidnapping, which I come to find out because a black cop there told me and gave me the badge numbers of the cops who did this shit. Like, yeah, wow. The level of shit that there are people who go to court, like if you ever been to like a traffic court or some shit like that, people will go to court like, oh, what are they arrested for? It just says resisting arrest. Like
resisting arrest for what?
Yeah.
Exactly. Because the cop said some fucking off the wall shit was violating somebody's rights and didn't like the fact that somebody stood up for themselves.
That's not a dirty cop. That's what cops do, right?
Yeah. They're criminals.
A regular cop.
Yeah. Right. You see a lot of that propaganda in Batman. You see a lot of like, oh, he's a cop and oh, he's with the mob and brr. But no, in reality, cops commit crimes all the time because they feel they can, and they feel they have the entitlement to.
Yeah. Like, try to pretend like this is just a random guy who just is specifically bad. It's like, well, no. How do all these people think that they can?
A few bad apples, right?
Yeah.
Like, how can you confidently feel like, yeah, I can be this level of fucking corrupt that everyone knows it's me and I have no fear of losing my job?
Right. It's like the whole barrel is run just because Gordon might be a good cop. Like, is he really a good cop? Is he really?
He's still in the system, right?
Yeah.
So he's forced to operate within there, in that corrupt system.
Thanks for the super chat. Really quick, Gene. I think we already
that's an interesting question from Gene.
If Nika was a superhero, what would his character be, and what would his powers be, and would he be a cop? Obviously, he would not be a cop. Okay, but what would your powers be if you were a superhero?
I'd be probably Spider-Man. Of course. Like, I like to consider myself a multifaceted individual. So, like, yeah, I'd be able to fuck people up, but also I'm pretty smart.
Which
and
Spider-Man?
Because I was raised by my Aunt May, I'm really in touch with my emotions too. So,
which Spider-Man now? There are multiple Spider-Men now.
No, I would be emotional, always in my own head Spider-Man. I would be that one. I wouldn't be the super positive, like, have a father figure in my life who takes care of me and makes me feel like I'm important. No, I'd be the super emotional, everything is the biggest deal in the in the world, 90s Spider-Man. That's where I would be.
Peter Parker. He's strong.
Peter Parker, like Miles Morales after his dad dies, like, I'd be like that. Yeah. Not this super, like, I love like I like the fact that they went out of their way to protect Spider-Man's innocence, because that's probably what's going to make this Spider-Man coming up the best one, because the first, like, people hadn't even caught on to the fact that he's the only MCU character where nobody knows who he is. It specifically was to protect his innocence because of his age. He was the only minor too. So now that all that's out the bag, you're like, oh yeah, y'all motherfuckers forgot why it's so important to have a mask on, huh? We about to throw it all in your face. So, because there's always consequences of them not having their masks on, but nobody ever actually talks about it. Like, the only reason that the Accords could happen is because none of them have their identities as secret. Like, people haven't figured that part out. But like with Spider-Man, he would have never really actually had to adhere to those Accords because they had no idea what his identity was.
Don't forget Daredevil. They don't know who he is yet. And he's rumored to be in the No Way Home movie.
No Way Home, yeah.
Paul Smith says, he'll be there as Matt Murdock.
But just as Matt Murdock, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
But that makes him canon. Paul Smith asks, does Bruce Wayne Batman have any hint of socialism? I would say no. No. Bruce Wayne is he's literally a billionaire. You don't get more capitalist than a fucking billionaire.
Is there even any, like, do we even know how much money he has?
multiple billions.
He wakes up in there every morning and is like, I want like 15 tanks. When they raided this motherfucker's like R&D department, they showed up with like enough tanks to take over the fucking city. There was a bunch of Batmobiles. One of them bitches is like $2 billion.
He has enough money to outbid Lex Luthor.
Yes.
Because I remember some stories and there's like an episode of Justice League also where he was able to buy off one of Lex Luthor's henchmen. He's like, hey, I'll pay you more than he's paying you.
Oh shit.
And then he backstabbed Lex Luthor.
Yeah, that's stupid money. That's like, dumb money.
Batman has like rich, evil villains, whereas it's flipped in Batman. Right?
Well, that's what somebody else pointed out in the chat, that Peter Parker's villains are rich, whereas Batman's villains are poor people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is revolutionary.
Yeah, Spider-Man is rich. Spider-Man is also, like, you could say there's socialism in Spider-Man, but not 100%. Bruce Wayne. He's the ultimate capitalist. And I'm going to choose violence right before I read this comment. Black Panther's worth more. Of course. He's a prince. What the fuck? Of course. Like a fucking a pinky of vibranium with like $1 billion goddamn dollars. And he has like more than any other place in the universe. He's the richest man in the universe. Yeah. He's the richest man on the fucking planet. Yeah. Right. Speaking of capitalist, Black Panther's definitely a capitalist. Whipple Dingle said, without the trust fund, he'd seek a job as a cop. I think without the trust fund, he would have sought a job as he would have gone in the military. I don't think he would have been a cop. He would have gone in the military, which is just an international cop. So,
he would have become a cop himself, or he would have become an international cop. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Or he just would have gone around beating people up.
Trust fund. What?
Or he just would have gone around beating people up.
Yeah,
or work for the intelligence
in the military.
So. What we do know with 100% absolute certainty is that he wouldn't have gone to therapy. That's what we do know.
No.
Yes. Because with all the resources and it being fully paid for, he did not go.
Didn't hear you, Bess.
I said even if he went to therapy, the doctor's not home anymore.
Yeah.
Bruce did give away his trust fund to Alfred.
All of them.
That's because he gave away his trust fund to Alfred because at that point in the comics, Damian wasn't a thing yet, and Alfred is his closest relative. Like, he's not related to him, but he's the person closest to him.
Doesn't even put Damian in therapy. Holy shit! Doesn't even put my man in champ. Like, fucking Damian needs therapy more than fucking Bruce does. They need family therapy. He had a whole family therapy session. He's like, yeah, Damian, actually, just try not to kill people, and then we're good.
Right. When Alfred dies, he gives it all to Nightwing. And Nightwing, that's where your socialism comes in. Nightwing is a socialist because as soon as he got the $1 billion, he went to Bloodhaven and actually started giving people shit. So there's your socialism in the Bat family, but it is not coming from Wayne.
And low key, DC until recently, because everybody kind of like the younger generation fell in love with Nightwing. Over the course of the last few years, I've always been a bigger fan of Nightwing. I'm like, why the fuck do we not get more Nightwing? We only get like a little bit of Nightwing every now and then, but it's like he's always been like I liked him better because it's like, yeah, I guess I gotta fight these people. I don't really want to, but like since Bruce is gonna fucking employ everybody and make sure they have jobs, I guess I have to do this. Or who I did like though? I did like McGinnis. I did like McGinnis because he was always checking Bruce like, bitch, stop with the extra violence shit. Like, you always want to go fuck somebody up. Can I try talking to somebody every now and then? Like, whenever Bruce would try to take things too far, and Terry would always be like, no, I'm going to try it my way, actually. Please and thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite ever since I was a kid was always, like, from when I saw the 1960s Batman show back when I was a kid. Like, I always loved Batgirl. Always. She was always my favorite. Because she was a super smart librarian who, kicked ass at night. Like, that to me, like, she was a total badass. And the fact that she used her, even after she ended up in the wheelchair, she didn't let that stop her. She still, created, like, a web program or whatever. Like, she had an eidetic memory. She was just a total badass. And I still love Batgirl.
I can't believe they put Batgirl in a wheelchair. Ain't that some bullshit? Like, yeah, man, we know like fucking the odds of like Dick Grayson probably being in the wheelchair is probably much higher considering he's a fucking acrobat who literally is always taking risks. But bad girls weren't going to put in a wheelchair. DC always gets it wrong.
That was
people.
the worst story, man. The Killing Joke. It was so crazy too about the Killing Joke because the Killing Joke was supposed to be an Elseworld story,
and they made it canon.
They
made elements of it canon. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna read this last super chat, and then we have to say goodbye because we're already out of time.
How are we already out of time?
Amir, we only have 5 minutes left. From Amir,
so fast.
Thank you, Amir. Monica Rambeau is the original Miss Marvel. Black characters but he says Miss Marvel. Black characters are either put to the side like Dr. Voodoo or become the sidekicks for the white characters. That is sometimes true, but with Marvel. There are characters like Blade is his own thing. He has his own comic series. Black Panther is his own thing. Has his own.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier have always been a thing too. Like, they've been like co-equals, and so was Luke Cage.
Yeah, Luke Cage. So that's what I'm saying. There are in Marvel. There are black characters that get their own series, and they're not sidelined. They're not side characters. So it is. But that is true for black women. Because Storm should really be as popular as Wolverine, but we can talk about that.
Oh no, they about to go to fuck off with Storm, especially with the Wakanda connection. They about to go to fuck off with Storm, yo. Like literally, people haven't even figured out yet. Like Marvel is basically setting up for almost all the most powerful characters. Like T'Challa's sister Shuri's about to be the Queen of Wakanda, obviously, but she's also about to be the Black Panther. And then Ironheart is taking over for Iron Man, and then Captain Marvel is still Captain Marvel. The most powerful person in the universe is Wanda. There's another character I'm missing. But basically, all the most powerful characters are going to be. It's going to be a bunch of like black women and super powerful women, and then Peter Parker sitting there in between all of them, like, oh, okay,
yeah,
that's cool.
Like in that scene in Endgame. And then there's going to be a bunch of
it was like it was foreshadowing, basically.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of female mutants. There's Sue Storm also in the Fantastic Four. There's going to be a bunch of femle superheroes going. They're
going to make Reed Richards black too.
Because of his connection with Kang.
Because the direction they went through.
Oh, they probably. You're right. Because Kang the Conqueror is black, so the Richards would have to be black.
And they'd be looking for any reason to make them black now in MCU, which is the opposite of DC. DC, and what's crazy about the with the Green Lantern, and then is there any other black? Who's the other black guy?
Which I mean, that's what they should have done with that's what they should have done with the Fantastic Four. Whenever instead of having Michael B. Jordan be Human Torch.
Static. So Static was good,
Shock, yeah.
But so they have the Green Lantern where it's like he just will not embody any blackness whatsoever. He's like fucking Coach Tomlin for the Steelers. We're he's black, but is he though? And then it's like, but we're gonna do Static where he's in the fucking hood and has to act overtly black. And we're gonna give him dreadlocks because we can't do any in between or nuance because that's just fucking not what DC does.
We also remember Black Lightning. Yeah.
All right, guys. Black Lightning DC now.
Yeah, Black Lightning's
DC. Yeah. We're down to the wire.
They took Static away from us, so now we don't even get fucking Static. Wow, that's some bullshit. That's really some
Static
bullshit.
Shock actually
they took away Black Vulcan and fucking Static.
Yeah, that's actually I don't even think that's DC. That was Millennium to begin with.
Yeah, but I think DC bought it.
Yeah,
but it started out as an independent.
Justice League Unlimited, I think.
All right, unmute yourself, Best. Tell everybody where they can find you, where hopefully they can hear you.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me? Yes? Okay. Please find me at Malensplain on Twitter or malensplain.com. I have a podcast. I have YouTube stuff. I am funny. I have Instagram. And I am poor, so give me money. Thank you.
All right, rolling right to Franco.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for having me again. I love going on the Fred Hampton Leftist show. You can find me on Frank Analysis on YouTube. I'm also on Odyssey, and of course, I'm on Rockfin. And you can find me on Twitter at B43Franco. My show, I do solo videos, I do interviews, I do panel discussions. We talk about solutions, and I'm also on the ground.
Awesome. Nico.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me back on, by the way. It's always a dope time whenever we come on here. It's always hilarious. But first of all, let me just say once again, DC always gets it wrong. The MCU gets it right. You can find me at Nico, NIKO CSFB, on on Twitter, and then on YouTube. Not right now because YouTube has me banned for a week because it's YouTube. Yeah. So I accidentally quoted Joe Biden verbatim and then read an initial media article. So they didn't like that. They said it was against the consensus. And I agree. They are absolutely right. The consensus is against Joe Biden. So that is true. But you can also find me on Rockfin at Nika Niko. And yeah, I guess eventually I'll be back on YouTube too. But those are you can find me on Instagram too at Jimmy Hen Hen Drip DRIP.
Awesome.
Jimmy Hen
Meg.
All right, so there's a new episode of The Killjoy Guide coming out tomorrow. I did an awesome interview with Jessica Crispin, who's the author of Why I'm Not a Feminist, so definitely check that out tomorrow. Then obviously you can find me here every Monday with Jackie on Nerdolitics for 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's crazy. Like, I think Nico holds the record for most appearances on FHL.
Really?
Oh, snap.
I think it was your third time.
You're on RJ's show. Where else? This show?
I was on RJ's. I've been on Sabby's.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on Here twice. Is that it? Yeah, about 5.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I've been on here thrice, like 3 times.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Yeah, you definitely hold the record for us.
Thank you to the panel for coming, because you guys are all awesome, and this was a ton of fun. Thank you to Robin for being our resident just awesome person. Thank you to everybody who comes and listens. You guys are the best. Check us out on Rockfin, on YouTube, on Facebook, Twitter, all of the places. You can find us there. This was awesome. We're going to do this again. Go get our merch. Find us on Ko-fi. You guys are cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
Whoa.